Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Laverne Cox, for those of you who don't know, and welcome to part 2 of my series, Readings from Bell Hooks. And our reading today is from her book, Teaching to Transgress, Education as a Practice of Freedom. It is an incredible book on pedagogy, how we can teach differently, and it's really about the classroom. But what I love about this book is I think it can be applied to so many different aspects of our culture, various institutions that we can interrogate differently, where we can have different kinds of practices. And the passage I want to read to you today is from the chapter Language, Teaching New Worlds, New Words. And it's related to the passage from part 1 of our series, and you'll see how and why. Bell Hooks writes, like desire, language disrupts, refuses to be contained within boundaries. It speaks itself against our will, in words and thoughts that intrude, even violate the most private spaces of mind and body. It was in my first year of college that I read Adrienne Rich's poem, The Burning of Paper Instead of Children. And that poem, speaking against domination, against racism and class oppression, attempts to illustrate graphically that stopping the political persecution and torture of living beings is a more vital issue than censorship, than burning books. One line of this poem that moved and disturbed something within me. This is the oppressor's language, yet I needed to talk to you. I've never forgotten it. Perhaps I could not have forgotten it, even if I tried to erase it from my memory. Words impose themselves, take root in our memory against our will. The words of this poem begat a life in my memory that I could not abort or change. When I find myself thinking about language now, these words are there, as if they were always waiting to challenge and assist me. I find myself silently speaking them over and over again with the intensity of a chant. They startle me, shaking me into an awareness of the link between language and domination. Initially, I resist the idea of the oppressor's language, certain that this construct has the potential to disempower those of us who are just learning to speak, who are just learning to claim language as a place where we make ourselves subject. This is the oppressor's language, yet I needed to talk to you. Adrienne Rich's words. Then, when I first read these words, and now, they make me think of standard English, of learning to speak against Black vernacular, against the ruptured and broken speech of a dispossessed and displaced people. Standard English is not the speech of exile. It is the language of conquest and domination. In the United States, it is the mask which hides the loss of so many tongues, all those sounds of diverse Native communities we will never hear. The speech of the Gula, Yiddish, and so many other unremembered tongues. Reflecting on Adrienne Rich's words, I know that it is not the English language that hurts me, but what the oppressors do with it. How they shape it to become a territory that limits and defines. How they make it a weapon that can shame, humiliate, colonize. This is the oppressor's language, yet I needed to talk to you, is such a prescient quote. And I love that Bell revisits it. Teaching to Transgress was written several years after Yearning, where she first evoked the Adrienne Rich quote. And I love that she continues to ponder it and continues to sort of meditate on it. And so much of Bell's work is really about healing. How do we find ways to empower ourselves in the context of what she calls imperialist white supremacist capitalist patriarchy? I add to that cis-normative, heteronormative, imperialist white supremacist capitalist patriarchy. And I think I love Bell Hooks' work so much because it always, while being fiercely critical, is a space of healing and a space of recovery and a space of decolonization. Thank you once again for joining me in this series, Readings from Bell Hooks. I hope they've inspired you and encouraged you to think critically about your life, about the world around you, because that's what Bell Hooks would want us to do. Till next time, stay in the love.